Well, joining me now is UDM's Nqabayomzi Kwankwa, and we will be previewing the State of the Nation address that is coming up this evening by President Cyril Ramaphosa here in Cape Town at the City Hall in Cape Town, where Parliament resides. Tonight, we are going to be hearing for the first time the State of the Nation address under the Government of National Unity. What can we expect?
Well, certainly the President will touch on how to grow the economy. We've been talking about reindustrializing the South African economy. He will be citing issues that have to do with Operation Vulindlela, how we would like to deal with binding constraints on the South African economy so that we can actually be able to make sure that we realize the full potential of SA. I mean, you have challenges of youth unemployment, poverty, and inequality that he has to speak to. The other issue which for us is very critical is that he must communicate a clear message about the SANDF soldiers who are stuck in Goma right now under very difficult conditions. We need a clear way forward. We need our soldiers to be brought back home. The alternative, if we want to continue to be engaged and involved in missions on the African continent, it must be that South Africa must be able to make the tough sacrifices and choices which are going to resource our soldiers so that we don't become the laughingstock where countries even less than 3% of the size of ours, the president can actually take to the media and insult our president and our country in the process. The other important issue of obviously for us, we need to actually tell the American president where to get off. We're a sovereign state. We're not going to be told by them what to do. No one is going to dictate to us what we should do. If they have an issue with the fact that they are trying to weaponize AGOA, they can take their AGOA and shove it. I mean, more than half of the world's population is within BRICS countries. I'm sure we can find workable alternatives if we work hard and replace whatever trade they take, opportunities they take away from us. I'm sure we can replace it globally if we work hard and we're clear about the strategy we want to adopt.
What measures should we put in place to mitigate that if the AGOA deal falls through?
Why should we? We shouldn't be focusing on America. Look, they've been using AGOA as a weapon for many years now, as a way of bullying African countries in particular. That's why I'm saying, in the strongest terms, they can take their AGOA, shove it, but in the meantime, I mean, we knew about this long before Donald Trump won the elections in America. We should have been proactive, plan for an alternative plan of action in the event that, say, for an example, Trump decides to use AGOA. I am sure government has been working behind the scenes to try and find an alternative to AGOA. That's why we're not panicking. I mean, he even makes crazy suggestions as if we're getting a lot of aid from America. What aid when we're giving out aid to the rest of the African continent from the limited resources we have? So if we're able to have some efficiency in the system, we can have enough resources to be able to deal with our own problems in the country.
You are part of government now. What was the UDM's contribution to the State of the Nation address that we're going to be listening to this evening?
Look, obviously, when the JNU was formed, even the statement of intent tried to look at the party platforms of the various political parties, when from a policy point of view, there are no vast differences between the ANC and the UDM. So we speak the same kind of language. The focus for us really has to do with the implementation of existing programs. I mean, if you were to even talk about income redistribution, the transformation of the economy, reindustrializing the South African economy, I mean, we speak the same language. The only differences would be the focus areas, the sequencing of the whole thing, making sure that there's efficiency, meaning it's more the technical side of whatever program we have adopted. It's not like the UDM and the African National Congress and other sister opposition parties that from an ideological opposition were polar opposites. So it's easy to find out each other or to reach compromises on issues.
About 6 months into this Government of National Unity, what's your assessment of it? Do you feel that South Africa, it is something that South Africa needed? Do you feel that we are moving in the right direction as a country?
Well, I suppose if you look at the noises, if you look at the enthusiasm, if you look at the excitement from the different ministers who occupy strategic positions in government, I think we are moving in the right direction. However, like any arrangement where you're putting various stakeholders together, you are going to have teething problems. I mean, we've had teething problems at the beginning of the exercise. I think we're beginning to find one another in terms of the programmatic work, the work that needs to be done, how it needs to be done. It doesn't mean we're not going to disagree every now and then, because we are not a homogeneous group of political parties. I mean, we come from different political backgrounds as well. What is critical is us being able to reach compromises in instances where we disagree, and to also deal with truant partners within the alliance or the coalition who tend to think they have a main character syndrome.
And talking about agreeing on issues, surely what is happening in the DRC is one issue where you do not seem to be in agreement with the ANC on. They believe that what is happening there is a peacekeeping mission. But listening to the leader of the UDM, it would seem the UDM itself is holding a completely different view of what is happening there.
Well, if we are in a peacekeeping mission, I agree. That's what we do on the African continent. But what do you do when people shoot at you? Do you blow kisses at them? Do you take out roses and say we love you? When they shoot at us, it simply means that they do not respect us as a country. They do not even respect the role that we've been deployed there to do. When people shoot at us and kill our soldiers, we have to fire back and teach them a serious lesson. Otherwise, whenever we conduct these peacekeeping missions on the continent, we are going to be taken advantage of, because we are going to be taken as these people who are going to turn the other cheek.
Is that not warmongering?
It's not warmongering. Why did you shoot at us if we were a peacekeeping mission? Remember, our soldiers were ambushed. They were in the base. They didn't go out to try and fight with anyone. I mean, if you're ambushed, what do? That's why I'm asking you, do you blow kisses? Do you take out a bunch of roses and say we love you when people are killing you? You have to fight back. But in instances when that happens, they must know they are playing with fire. But you don't go out there to seek to fight with people or to try and start conflict. But when they attack you, you have to fight back.
And where does dialogue fit in there?
No, dialogue, the soldiers are not there to ensure dialogue. The soldiers are there to maintain peace. Dialogue is a responsibility of politicians. We don't send them there in order to talk to.
Is it taking place? Is that
failure? It's not if dialogue is not taking place. It is taking place, but it's very sporadic. It takes place during certain instances, but it seems like consensus has not been reached on a number of issues. But what is important is that when we send soldiers there, they are not there to negotiate. If negotiations are collapsing, it's a failure of political leadership. They have to find a way of finding one another so that we do not actually unnecessarily expose our soldiers and the lives of our daughters and sons to danger.
There are remarks or utterances that there seems to be ulterior motives behind the decision to send these soldiers there to protect the interests of certain people who are interested in the minerals in that region. Do you share the same sentiments?
Well, we never get into conspiracy theories. I mean, it depends on which side of the fence you're sitting. What we are concerned with as a party is that peacekeeping mission sanctioned by SADC, right? We don't know the other dynamics. You can speculate until cows come home, but what is important now is to get back our soldiers home safely. We can discuss the rest when they are here. If there's no intentions of bringing them back home, then we must arm them, because they've been disarmed, right? We must find a way of equipping them, properly resourcing them, because these guys on the African continent, the militia, must know that when they mess with South Africa during a peacekeeping mission, they will be taught a lesson. But what you don't want to do is to send your soldiers as if you're going to war where they start conflict. They should not be involved in conflict when they are peacekeeping, but when they are attacked, they must fight.
Noted. The UDM in government, how are you finding it?
Urhulumente lona siyazile ukuthi zizaba khona ingxaki kurhulumente omtsha. Sizifumene ezo ngxaki, kodwa ngaphakathi siyakwazi ufumana indlela othetha sizilungise. Ayithethi ukuthi nale ndlela silungisa ngayo izinto ngaphakathi ihamba kakuhle ngamamaxesha namagqwetha-gqwetha, kodwa sikhona kuba sifuna ukulungisa uMzantsi Afrika nosebenza kunye ukwenza ukuthi ulawulo lube lingabi gwenxa, ulawulo luzisa inkonzo yabantu luphucule ubomi babantu.
And are you happy with how things are happening in the GNU? Is it something that can take South Africa forward?
Bakhona apha kwi-GNU abasileyo abacinga uba kulawula bona okanye baziphathe ngathi uMzantsi Afrika lo ngowabo, ngowethu sonke. Kwaye xa sikwi-GNU sonke nathi siyindibanisela, sifanele sibe yimbumba yamanyama. Siyabalungisa ke ngamamaxesha neliphi ikhaya linamageza awo azawukwazi ukwenza izinto ezibabe ngophondo liyahexa. Kufuneka simane sibafaka ngaphakathi. Okubalulekileyo into yoba siyakwazi udibana sithethe silungisane apho singaboni ngasonye, siqiniseke ukuthi uMzantsi Afrika wona awuchaphazeleki ngenxa yokuba singavumelani. loo nto ithi ke ngoku isekhona igumbi loba zingaphucuka izinto kodwa ziphuculwa ngokuthetha nokulungisana endleleni.
And what was the UDM's contribution to the SONA that we're going to be listening to?
Luphuhliso loMzantsi Afrika kuba sohlukanga kakhulu kwi-ANC. Luphuhliso loMzantsi Afrika kukulwa indlala nentswelangqesho, kuqiniseka ukuthi umgangatho